Hey, welcome to episode 144 of Awkwardly Awesome Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Freeman. I, I, love interviewing people because people are just immensely fascinating. And, and today I have, a guest with a phenomenal story who is doing phenomenal work in the world. And I'll tell you a bit more about her, but first this.
Today's guest, Fatima Hurd.
Welcome back to Awkwardly Awesome Podcast. I'm still your host, Jason Freeman. Let me tell you a bit about Fatima. So many of us yearn to get a message out into the world in one form or another. My next guest, Fatima Hurd, has a superpower of helping her clients do exactly that. A personal branding photographer, Fatima helps her clients feel safe and comfortable in front of her lens so that they show up energetically and authentically aligned with who they are and what they offer. Fatima has contributed to many best-selling books, including the 13 Steps to Riches book series and the Book of Influence series. And and that's just a small snapshot of who this amazing person is. Let me bring her on. Please welcome Fatima.
Hey,
Welcome.
hey, Jason. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest on your show. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for coming and welcome to Awkwardly Awesome Podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So the power mindset is very important to you.
Yes.
Y- You, how did you start becoming aware of how of the effect mindset has on our lives?
Well, Jason, it actually started when I was 16. I began my spiritual path. I was going down I was going down a certain way that I wasn't really proud of. And so I was introduced to metaphysics when I was 16. And since then, I want to say, up until my 20s, I was very spiritual. But in 2008, during the recession, I lost my job. And that's when I actually took on shifted the spirituality into mindset work with self-development. I shifted the spiritual mindset into directing my energy and what I wanted out of life versus just letting life happen to me. I got more intentional with what I wanted out of life. So I had my son. I was a single mom in 2008. And like I said, I lost my job. And that was actually a blessing in disguise. That's when,
Where were you working at or what
yeah,
field were you working in?
I was actually a slot manager at a casino in Las Vegas. And in 2008, they had to do a staff reduction. And after years of service, they had to let people go. And, a lot of people were affected in 2008 by the recession. But that's really where like I said, where spirituality met the self-development part of my journey, because that's when I realized that it had awakened my spirit, my entrepreneurship spirit. And I realized that I no longer wanted people to place a certain value on me of what I was worth. I spent so many years in the casino, or at the time, and I gave all of my best. But I realized, like I said, it was a blessing in disguise, because now I realized the value that I had and what I wanted to bring to the world and how I wanted to serve, especially showing up for my son. Yeah.
Say more about the concept of directing our energy where we want it to go.
Okay. So prior to 2008, well, with the spirituality aspect, I was aligned with the opportunities that would come my way, but I wasn't being intentional of what I wanted out of life. In 2008, when everything happened to me, and I allowed life to just happen for me.
So you're a single mom, and then
Yeah,
suddenly you lose your
you
job.
lose everything.
I mean, that's like quite a
Yeah.
moment.
And it wasn't just losing my job. I was I ended the relationship after so many years, and
In
I had to
2008 too?
2008. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
I lost my job. I ended the relationship with my son's father. I lost everything. And so I had to move in back with my mom. So here I was at 29 years old, moving in with mom, starting all over. I had no job, and I didn't have a job for a whole year, because, again, with the recession, no one was hiring. So it actually, like I said, it was a blessing in disguise, because that's when I started doing the work. That's when I turned to, I remember the first books that I picked up was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And
How did you know to pick that book up?
an interesting story was I actually went to, a friend of mine invited me to a seminar where they were trying to teach you about securities. And I was outside, and I heard someone speaking about this guy was talking about the books and how they were, like game changer, especially for entrepreneurs. At the time, I didn't know what he truly meant, but I was really intrigued with the energy and what he was, how he was presenting the books. And I remember following my intuition and leaving that meeting and running to the nearest Barnes and Noble and picking up the books, both Think and Grow Rich and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and then The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And I remember running.
Was this man was he
Yeah.
talking to the
Well,
audience, or just having
actually,
a conversation?
yeah, well, actually, what happened was we went on a break. So the securities, there was a meeting, and we went on a break, and he had the books in his hands, and they were actually like smoking. And I kind of went outside to get some fresh air, and I heard him talking about the books. Again, opportunity, right? I walked out
You
just
just
in time,
overheard
or overheard the conversation from this guy.
and it changed the trajectory of your life?
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. Yeah. But again, because of my spiritual path, I woke up my intuition and my heightened sense of awareness. And even though I wasn't where I was at that time, I was listening, but I knew in my heart, okay, this is where I need to be. I went to this meeting. I didn't sign up. I was just kind of check it out, but I was meant to go there to overhear this conversation and then run to the Barnes and Noble with what I had, bought the 2 books, and went home and read cover to cover. And that's where everything transformed for me. I started reading, I did. And then the interesting part is that Think and Grow Rich at the time, I did not understand it, but I did. Like, I took action on certain things, but on other things, it was still kind of new to me, right? Even to this day, I still read the book and go, oh my God, how did I miss that? I still have aha moments. But that is where I learned to be intentional with my life. Like, what did I want? And actually that year in 2008 is when by the end of the year, I had created this amazing vision board. And I kid you not, I manifested everything on the board. So, I manifested my husband. I manifested a new job. I manifested my photography business. And the biggest thing was, when I was doing the vision board, I remember sitting there and wanting, all these amazing things for my son. Like, I wanted him to have a father, because I didn't have, my real father passed away. And I didn't have.
When you was old.
I was probably about 2 years old, a year
Oh,
old,
so
2 years old.
you don't really have a memory of.
No. And then my mom got remarried, and my stepfather was, he had his own stuff going on. And
Mm,
it wasn't where I didn't have that male figure in my life, and I knew how important that was and how I wanted it so bad for my son. And that's where
mm,
all the energy went. And I tell
mm,
you what, I manifested my husband. But when I manifested, Jason, he is the most perfect. Like, him and my son have such an amazing bond, like no other. Sometimes I'm like, just the way their connection, everything. I manifested that relationship for my son because I knew that that was what I was missing when I was a child. And that's when, like I said, the transformation came, because I knew that when you get intentional with your life and you have the vision, and that vision has that emotion, I mean, the sky's the limit. The possibilities are endless. And I had momentum in 2008, from going and losing everything. It was like a canvas. I started all over. It was a blessing in disguise. And I learned the art of manifesting, the art of channeling the energy and being intentional, with what you truly want in life. And so I noticed the shift in my personal life. The what I still struggled with at that time was understanding entrepreneurship, business. And with that, that's where self-development, meeting other entrepreneurs and bringing that together, and meeting, people like you and Eric and,
and Brian.
and Brian. Yes, Brian,
We love you, Brian. Thank you.
Brian, you're amazing. Oh my God. Tell
So,
hi. Yeah,
I'm laughing at myself right now, Fatima, because before the conversation, I was like doing my homework at the last minute, and I was like, well, we have enough to talk about, and oh my gosh, um, we have hours and hours and hours worth to talk about, and we only have an hour, so so okay, I mean, before we go forward, let's back up a little bit.
sure.
At 16, you said you were going down a path you didn't want to go
Yeah.
down. Who was the incredible human being who gave you a book of metaphysics?
It was a friend of the family. She was a friend of my mom. Um, I remember my mom asking me if I was interested in maybe doing meeting her friend, who was really, at the time, I was kind of being drawn into the mystic, like the spiritual realm. And she's like, I have a friend who's actually a teacher in metaphysics, and she would love to meet you. So I said yes, and that's where I learned to work with the ascended masters, and it really just opened up my whole spiritual uh journey in how to use the violet flame to clear all that trauma that I had when I was a child.
Mm,
The I had the victim mentality, abandonment issues, because again, I lost my dad when I was young. And then
mm,
throughout the years, there was a lot of mental and physical abuse. And
mm.
I just, my self-worth was so low. And this is why I was saying I was heading down this path. And actually, my mom was kind of my angel. Even though she couldn't help me, she found someone who did. And that person,
Even though she couldn't help you, she found someone who did.
yes,
I want to highlight that phrase because it seems like sometimes we think we have to do everything to help someone, but sometimes we simply need to say a few things and direct them along that path, And that's beautiful that your mom found a way to help you.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. At that point in our lives, you know, there was trust issues, and you know, she just thought it would be better coming from someone else, especially because she was also learning from, her friend, and learning how to shift all of the stuff she was working on, all of her limiting beliefs and, trauma and stuff that she was dealing with. So it was a beautiful thing that she actually had found someone to help me get on that path and know, like, and ask for help. I think that's the biggest thing, is asking for help. We tend to want to do things on our own, and you just nailed it. Like you said, sometimes we just can't, and we need to reach out. So you're spot on. And that was another big blessing in my life, was that she reached out for help and brought this person in that really shifted the direction again in my life and put me on a certain path, So, yeah.
My friend Trinity says I work with Ascended Masters too. Was guided to us today.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh. Yay, Trinity. Yes, I still work with the Ascended Masters. I'm very big. Actually, my son was, in honor of Saint Germain. I named my son Germain. That's his middle name, and he is, in charge of the Violet Flame, of transmutation. So transmute all of the negativity, and So anyway, but yeah, going back to that, I'm glad Trinity's here, and I'm glad you were guided to watch this today. Thank you, Trinity.
for someone like me who's heard of the Ascended Masters, but in the Violet Flame, but doesn't know much besides that, how would you describe the Ascended Masters in a nutshell? I know that's a tough question because it's like a big body of
Yeah.
work, but
Well, I'm going to describe it in, simple terms. I see them and view
thanks.
them as, beings that have been here, have come through, the process of, experiencing, you know, being human. And so they've ascended, and they're there to guide us. They're like guides, at least for me,
Mm,
Ascended Master Saint Germain is my guide. And Master
mm,
Saint Germain oversees the Violet Flame. The Violet Flame is actually, I feel, was the catalyst in clearing all of it transmutes all of the pain, the hurt, the trauma, and how do you explain this? It transmute with the violet flame actually transmutes all of that stuff, the karmic.
so like it's
Yeah, it's like a light.
almost it's
It,
gone.
yeah, so it transmutes it, and the way I was taught was, it's the violet flame transmutes it and then sends it out into space to the sun, and it purifies it and then brings it back in love. And so this is why that was played a big role in forgiveness, letting go of the
Mm,
past, letting go of all the, like I said, the trauma, the forgiveness, in taking accountability of who I am, right? Things that happened in the past is things that I couldn't control, but I don't dwell on them, and it takes that pain away. So I've worked with the violet flame for a very long time when it comes to transmuting any negativity around me, or the negative feelings that come up. So that's how I use the violet flame. It helps really with like karma, and this is where it goes into the karma, ancestral, clearing all of that stuff. Is the violet flame is also used to clear things from our ancestors, to clear that gunk and all the stuff that's passed down from generation to generation. And that's how I've used the violet flame to clear.
so if a listener is listening to this on the Ascended Masters and the Violet Flame, and is kind of like, oh, that sounds interesting. Where would be the first place they would look for more information about this?
Um, well, I know they have different stuff out there. I personally haven't taught it, but they can, if they want to email me, they can email me and I can tell them more about it. But it's, the Ascended Masters is just, I know, this is a teaching that was brought to me when I was 16, and I've never really went out, used it only in my space. But yeah, if people want to talk about it, they can email me at Fatima Hurd, photography at gmail.com. But yeah, this,
Fatima
just
Hurd
to clarify,
photography.
yeah, just to clarify, that is just one, that was the beginning of my spiritual journey, because it did evolve into other modalities,
Oh
that,
yeah,
yeah.
you've used lots of more
Yeah. And
modalities.
I think, Jason, that for me, it what shows up for you is what you need at that moment, right?
What shows up for you is what you need at that moment.
Yes. Yeah.
So speaking of things showing up, part of the reason you overheard that conversation about Think and Grow Rich and knew to key into it is because your intuition was open.
Yes.
What are some ways we can open our intuition
Some of
or
the ways,
strengthen it? Or how would you say it?
the best way is meditation. Getting meditation, and doing, so the work that I do is the meditation, the guided meditations, right, are a big contributor to that. But also, um it's there's this feeling inside it's the meditation strengthen it, but the practices is what actually enhances it. So like when I'm doing the meditations, when I'm listening, or being, my awareness of understanding, you know uh, getting clear, but more importantly, getting rid of all the noise that surrounds us. um the biggest part of my intuition, I think, that what allowed it to grow was taking action.
The
When I had
biggest part of your intuition
is
that
taking
allowed it to go was taking action.
taking action, because as you take action on things that come through, you begin to realize that that is your guides. That is it's leading you through the direction that you need to go to create, to fulfill your purpose. If I didn't listen, or if I didn't take action, I would still be stuck in that moment. If I didn't take action in instantly going to Barnes and Noble and picking up these books,
Hmm.
I would have still been in the same space. And that's one thing about, I
Hmm.
think I talk about in one of the books, is opportunities come up for everyone. But if you're not listening and you're not taking action, then you're actually sabotaging your own success. And that comes with, like I said, the meditation, getting clear, um being present in the moment. Like when I was sitting there, I was present in what they were, people would call it eavesdropping, but I was present in what he was saying. He was very open, he was sharing, and I was present in the moment, and I was feeling that energy, and I was called to, hey, this is what you need to go get these books. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go get these books. So being present, doing your meditations, and being open and taking action. That's
I really this is so good because sometimes I think we get the first part down of meditating and in writing lists, setting intentions,
yeah,
and that's wonderful. That leads us much further than we were. But you're saying that for that to work, it needs to be coupled with taking action. Like you could put that conversation about these two books that transformed your life and then just forgot. Been like, oh, I'll do it next week, and by next week you
it's gone.
could have forgotten about it.
Well, I think, we've heard many times where the ideas are given to everyone. But if you don't take action, again, someone else is. And I've noticed too, like right now you mentioned it, action is the biggest ingredient, the biggest, um, it is the main thing when it comes to real manifesting what you want. Throughout my life, as I'm thinking of it right now, every time I was given an intuition or something, I would act on it. A perfect example in a story I would like to share was in 2019, when Clubhouse came out. I didn't know what that was. I was like, okay, what is this? All of a sudden, I had this strong like intuition, and I was driven. I had to be on this. I got to get on this Clubhouse thing. That's where I met Eric Swanson. And this is what turned my life around. And now I'm part of, all of these, I'm an author because I followed
You're
that
a best-selling author.
best-selling
You're not
author.
just an author. You're a
Yeah.
best-selling author.
Best-selling author to 3 different books because I took action, because I went on Clubhouse. I was invited. I remember it was 1:00 in the morning and a friend of mine calls me and she's like, hey, you got to get in this room because they're talking about a pitch. I remember thinking to myself, I'm tired. I should go to bed. But again, that intuition. And it was like, no, get on
What
there.
were they talking about in that room at 1 in the morning?
So they were talking, it was Eric, and he was talking about
At 1 in the morning?
at what it was 1:00 in the morning when that
Yeah,
Clubhouse, right?
what are you doing, man?
I know, right? But it was really cool because he was talking about your pitch in 60 seconds. Give your pitch and tell me what collaboration means to you. I still remember to this day. And I remember
Wow.
getting on there because at that time I kind of paused my photography business. I had no pitch. I really wasn't sure what was going on. But I knew at that point I was ready to come back from my break because I had just moved to a different state. And so I had come in, going, okay, well, let's just see what comes up. I remember talking to Eric, and that's when he was like, hey, I messed up my pitch. I remember thinking to myself, okay, well, it is what it is. And he was like, he was very generous. He's like, don't, it's okay. What does collaboration mean to you? I'm like, when you work with other people, and you create great relationships. But I remember him offering the opportunity for me to connect with him the following day, and he invited me to his mastermind. And honestly, that's when everything shifted. But I remember right before that, I had set an intention that I was ready to come back to the entrepreneurial world. When I moved from Las Vegas to California, I put pause on my photography business and I took a little bit of a break. And I wasn't happy. I wanted to, I knew like photography was what I loved to do. And like I said, when I made the commitment and I stated that, things started to show up for me. But I took action on the opportunities that showed up because I was ready and I was listening and I was present in the moment. Does that make sense?
So this Clubhouse was in 2019.
2019, 2020, one of those 2 years, I remember because it was during the pandemic.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it would have been so easy for you to be like, hey, friend, things are going really bad in the world. I don't want to be up in the middle of the night.
Yes.
I don't want to do this Clubhouse thing. But instead, you took.
I did. I took action. And I want to share something else with you. Not only did I take action, but I remember when he invited me to connect with him the next day he invited me to his mastermind, a guest on his mastermind. I remember being terrified.
And it's a virtual mastermind.
It was it was a
people
virtual.
know.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was a virtual mastermind. And I remember being terrified. I remember going, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. It was new, it was different. And there's someone said to me, I remember, many of my coaches, success lies in being uncomfortable or, in the pain or being afraid and taking action. Even when you're afraid, that's where you find the success. And that's where I found my breakthrough. This is where I found, like I said, I was terrified. I wasn't sure if, I was ready, but I knew I was ready because I showed up and I connected.
You were ready because you showed up.
Yes. Yeah.
That's quite the phrase.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you showed up, then what happened?
So I showed up, and it was an amazing mastermind. I mean, I in one day I was already. I mean, I had learned so much. Again, coming back to the entrepreneurial. Prior to that, I owned my own photography business, but I wasn't connected with community in
Mm.
Vegas. When I came out here, like I said, I took the break, but being in that mastermind and listening to all this beautiful advice that other entrepreneurs were giving and taking all these notes, I was like, I am exactly where I needed to be, because
Mm.
I had asked universe, I said I was ready to come back and I wanted to do it right. And so I ended up starting off as his intern. And then once I realized the benefits, I'm like, I'm just going to be a member. So I signed up to be a member, and I've been a member ever since. But
Mm.
again, going back to, you have to take action, even if it's scary. When you are intentional and you set your intentions and you write them down and you set these goals, universe is going to deliver. But you have to be open to it, and you got to be, you got to be ready. And once you take action, it's beautiful, and it leads to other opportunities, and the growth and the expansion that I've had in the last 2 years, and even in the last 6 months, I've seen so much. I've learned so much about myself, and seen, where I've been and where I want to go. So, yeah.
So for manifesting, so far we have set intention, and you did a vision board,
Boards, which I do every year.
and then you and then meditative practice to open intuition, and then once you hear or see something, that you go yes, to take action on it.
Yes, yes, it definitely aligns with me, and you feel it in your body. That intuition when it hits you, when something aligns with you. I mean, that's how I actually. This is how I got certified in the modalities, and going back to things show up when you're ready to upgrade. When you need an upgrade and you need something different in your life. When I went through when I got certified in Reiki, it was about, like I said, forgiving the past as well. Forgiving, myself when I lost my job in 2008. It kind of developed some limiting beliefs in who I was, and being able to stand up for myself and speak forward, for what I wanted. I wasn't thriving so much in the entrepreneurial aspect. I was in my personal life. And, I wanted balance in everything. So in 2018, that's when I got certified with Reiki. And that's where I began to actually use energy to forgive, to release, and to balance out my chakras. So then fast forward a year later, I actually met a teacher of mine who certifies in crystals. And what drew me with crystals was their properties. So like, again, every single time there was a shift in my modalities, I felt like it also shifted my life. It upgraded.
Mm.
So it's almost like a stepping stone. And then the same thing happened with hypnotherapy. When I heard, again, going back to Eric's global speakers, I met someone there who does hypnotherapy, Tim Scher, and I was intrigued with hypnotherapy because the thing about spirituality for me was, we have, when you're in that moment, we have momentum, but then when something big happens, it knocks you down, and then you get stuck, and then you got to start all over. And I realized that those were just limiting beliefs that were really embedded in us. And like Tim says, you pull them from the root, right? And that's where you shift those experiences. And so, like I said, every modality that I've learned has helped me progress further in my life. Getting every part of me, there's like different layers, and every modality has helped or has targeted that layer where I need to clear or let go, and then to be able to move forward and move the needle forward in all areas of my life.
I can see someone listening and say, but Fatima, crystals and Reiki and hypnotherapy are not my thing. But your point is to listen and find what your thing is, not
Yes.
that you you're not trying to say you need to do A, B, and C to,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yes, I tell people, and I get that all the time. Like, it's I feel that the modalities find you, not the other way
Mm,
around. Whatever aligns with you is
mm,
what you use to help you move forward. But again, there's the one ingredient that applies to everything is taking action, because I know people that know so much, that have
mm,
read the books, that
mm,
have read and learned and but never took action.
mm.
And that is where, like I said, in anything that you do, if there's no action, there's no moving forward. Whatever that
If there's
modality
no
is.
action, there's no moving forward.
Yeah. And that's, like I said, that's where it lies. That's the key, is taking action, doing the work, no matter how big, how scary it is, moving forward with it, and trusting. And that's the other thing, is trusting the process, trusting that whatever's coming to you is what's being delivered, so you can you know so you can follow through on your purpose. We're not perfect, but we have amazing tools that can get us to where we want to be if we take action. So
That's a great quote. We're not perfect, but we have amazing tools that can get us where we want to be if we take action. That's really great.
well, thank
Oh,
you. Yeah.
so how does manifesting in everything we talk about apply to branding photography? I guess so. A photo can be transmitted around the world, and people respond to that. So there might be a direct connection, huh? What do
Yeah.
you think?
There is, I mean, I believe that our gifts are channeled through our talents, right? Um, why photography is so important for me and why I've had so much success is, going back to the childhood, I don't feel like I was seen. I don't feel like I was heard. And so I think that what I'm manifesting photography as my vessel of
Mm,
helping others um, came forward because when I take pictures of people, I create a very safe space for them to show up as their authentic self. Like the things that I've heard from people is, you make me feel so, like you've made me feel safe. Like I can be my true self around you. I don't feel like there's a certain expectation that I need to meet. Like I can just be authentic. And I think that comes from being able to pour into them, you know, and letting them know that they're safe, that they're heard, in and that they're loved. Because when I put that camera to my eye and I see that beautiful light and capture it, that's that energy that comes through in their images. It's not about the physical, it's not about what they look like, it's about the energy that comes through that lens. And those are those images that create impact, and actually aligns them with their target audience, because they're being authentic. Right now we're in a world where it's authenticity, it's energy, and you can slap on anything you want, but if you're not being authentic, real, people can see through that. And when I photograph people, which is my vessel in how I help people heal, to see themselves through the beauty, through the lens that I see them through, they are able to come through empowered with who they truly are. Because again, when I was a child, I had so many layers slapped on me and I got buried, right? And now I never wanted people to ever feel that way. And I wanted people to like, I wanted people to feel seen, to feel loved. And that is how I chose photography to be that vessel, to show them, hey, look at how powerful you are. Look how amazing you look. Look at the energy that comes through. But in order to help them feel that way, I had to create the safe space. And by creating the safe space, I had to be energetically aligned and be in that vibration to hold them up to feel authentic. So that's how the connection comes. And like I said, we all have different modalities, but our talents, people, our people's modalities come through their talents. I know hairstylists, they're coaches as well.
Oh yeah! Oh my God!
Right? Because they're sitting there. It's not just about cutting the hair. It's about listening to the client and holding space for them. When you speak and when you bring in the guest and your story is so powerful, your modalities are coming through your podcast, your energy. So that's how I feel that everything's tied in. My personal branding truly is personal. It really opens up that safe space for people to come through and be themselves without any expectation.
So if this is not me at all at this point in my life. I love getting my picture taken, but say hypothetically, I came to you with Fatima. I need the real estate. I'm a realtor. The office says I need pictures. I hate getting my picture taken, but I need to do this. Can we just get this done fast? And I stand here with my arms crossed. Like, how do you begin to create a safe space for that person?
Well, the first thing I do is I have a Zoom consultation with them. I trans.
So you don't meet people for the first time on the day of the
No,
shoot.
I build the rapport with them
This is
way
important.
before. Yeah, I build the rapport with them way before we even get to the session to ensure that they're ready. I pour into them. I allow them.
When you say you pour into them,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
So I have a lot of clients that come in and they're like, well, I wish I can lose some weight before I get these pictures taken, and again, it's not about the weight, it's about the smile. And so when I'm talking to them, I start, focusing on I'm like, I love your smile. Like, I cannot wait to get you in front of my lens and get that smile. And they're like, really? Yeah. Oh my God, I love your hair. And oh my God, I really love that energy because they start to loosen up and I get to see who they truly are. Because even in Zoom, I provide that space where, people come in with this wall and of nervousness. And it's my job to build that rapport with them and make them feel safe. And like I said, it's really listening to them.
So you ask them about their lives?
Yeah. I ask them about what the photos are for. What's their intention with the photos? What is it that they don't like about photos? Or what is there certain areas that there are things that they don't like about, taking pictures? And they'll they're very forward with it. Or I don't like this. Or so what is it? Like, why don't you like it? And so then we start getting really into the nitty gritty of, what is the deep limiting belief of why they can't show up the way they can. So that's
so you actually talk about the fear.
Yeah. We face the fear dead on. And when we do,
Wow.
they get very comfortable because then they feel safe. Like, I can tell her this. And so then that I also take notes, because then I know that, these are certain things, like when I'm proposing them, if there's a certain side they don't like, then I shift to the other side. So like I keep all these things. It's not just taking a picture, it's taking in, keeping in mind all the things that they, things that is going to things that will help enhance their session and make them feel safe. So again, when I ask the questions, I'm also asking because I want to make them feel comfortable and not put up the red sign, and I'm not comfortable with that. So I get to know my clients. I even sometimes my clients come to me and they're like, I need pictures, but I don't know what I want. So when we begin to talk, I start pulling out of them, okay, so what does this look like? Or what are these images for? How do you want to show up? Well, I've seen these pictures and I love the way my friend got her pictures taken. Okay, well, again, your friend's energy is her energy, but we can do some amazing photos that are similar to that, that's going to bring out your energy, your talents, your your sparkle. So then that's where they start feeling comfortable and they start to relax. And once they feel safe, that's when I'm able to bring forward the energy that comes across through my lens. So yeah, it's building up that rapport way before the session.
And the way you do it is not abstract. Once you describe it, I see it's not abstract at all. Yeah.
No.
I
Yeah.
mean, getting to talk to your photographer
Yeah.
on Zoom and for her to ask you questions before the day of the it's like almost a dress rehearsal before the actual
Yes.
play. That's a brilliant idea.
And by the time the session comes around, they're like my best friends. They're so
Mm.
comfortable with me that they're all those inhibitions and all those fears are gone. And so when I start actually photographing them, like I said, that's when they really show up, because I've already created that beautiful rapport with them, and making them feel important, making them feel loved, and making them feel, you know, um, like they're gonna crush it. So yeah, and that's, like I said, to me, that's where it starts, with my clients. It's that value that I give them way before the session.
Do,
And
do,
I've had clients for 15 years that have
wow.
transitioned from family right over to branding. As a matter of fact, I have a client who has been my family. She's been a client for family pictures for over 10 years, and she's now becoming a transition over to branding. So these are clients that are around for a long time.
Do you still do family for photographs and weddings or?
I do stuff on the side. They're like, they just fill in whenever I have slow seasons. I love to photograph, different types of sessions, but my specialty is in branding photography. I just love, you know, working with entrepreneurs and business owners. Again, it's when they show up, when I hold space for them and they show up, then they're allowing, their business or that service that they're providing allows them to show up for their clients. So does that make sense? And I feel like that's the ripple effect. When I show up for my clients, they show up for theirs, and it goes on and on and on. So
Because their clients can find them
yes,
probably from the energy of the photo.
exactly, because it's all energy. Yeah.
Mm. You say one of your quotes on Instagram is your brand is the single most important investment you can make in your business. Why? I mean, there's so many things that get consumed with the website and so many different ways we can invest. Why is investing in branding crucial?
Because I think that's the engine or the gateway to allow your clients to really make the connection and see you for who you are. You know, the magic behind the business. Everybody can provide
The
photography.
magic behind the business.
Yes. Yes.
Everybody can what?
Everybody can provide, you know, there's the people can provide services. There's other photographers out there, there's other coaches out there, but your magic is what aligns with your people, right? The people that need you. And so when you invest in your brand and you're able to reflect that, that's how people find you, the right people, you know, your right clients. And that's why for me, I think it's important to invest in your brand. It's the one thing that people are going to connect to the most, you know, because it's aligning directly with your magic. So
Some people get exhausted in business because they feel like they're attracting the wrong clients and just don't enjoy working with them. Obviously, so you're saying part of really investing in your brand and showing your energy through your photographs is your tribe's going to stop being attracted to you.
yes, yes, yeah. Because again, you know, like the brand itself, you know, expands out a certain energy that
Mm,
aligns with the people that are waiting for your services. And when you
mm,
capture that, like from in photography, people are getting a bird's eye view of who you are and they're
mm,
resonating with that. So when you're
mm,
investing in these images, you're not just investing in the image of, you know, in just the business, it's you're investing in, you know, allowing people to truly see who you are and develop that rapport with you that resonates with them and says, yeah, I'll buy candy off them. I don't care. It's that person. I'm a, you know, I feel aligned with what they're offering, whatever that is. Again, we're talking about energy, and the energy is what you're really investing in and how that's being captured.
As a testament to what you're talking about, like I think I had seen you maybe twice
Yeah.
on Alex Swanson's group calls before I invited you to be on the podcast, and it's not like I did extensive research on 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 what you do and everything. I was moved by your energy and your kindness, and I think you might have asked me a few questions, and we had a little conversation, but but that wasn't all that much interaction before I say, hey, I want to have Fatima on my show. And I think sometimes as business people, we think it's going to be so much work to attract clients, and it becomes this really, really heavy thing. But when the magic's there, like you're saying it, things can move in the direction of a client's of a prospect saying yes very rapidly.
Absolutely. Again, you know, and you'll just I'll keep saying it. You know, it's the energy, and I'm going to quote one of you know, a friend and a coach. His name's Tim Schur, and he says it doesn't matter what shows up. What matters is how you show up,
It
right?
doesn't matter what
What
shows
shows
up.
up. What matters is how you show up, and how you show up, and the energy you show up with is what is the impact that you're creating. Whether it's one on one, whether it's with the masses, how you show up is, you know, where you create the most impact. And so where I try to show up is, you know, my authentic self is, you know, again, understanding, compassionate, loving. um and to be most, and what I've learned is to be of service to others. You know, how can I be of service? And, you know, again, when we help each other, and we grow together, we rise together. I've always been someone who enjoyed working with other individuals. And, I feel that's where my superpower is, just being around others and collaborating with people, because it's not, a one-man show. It's about, again, creating impact as a whole, because we reach the masses. So yeah, I went on a tangent there, but yeah, that's how I feel. And it's how you show up. And when you show up with that love, opportunities open up. And when I met you, I was so excited and thrilled with the story that you shared. I mean, it was the second time, I think, we were talking about the books, and you were telling us about, how to, about being an author. And, everything you were saying was resonating. Again, it was your energy that connected to my energy, that connected to the energies of everybody in the room. But, my enthusiasm is probably what caught your attention, because I was super excited with everything that you were sharing. And again, it's your brand, it's who you are. And that, how you showed up that day, is what the impact you created on us. So thank you for
That's as Alex Swanson would say. That's awesome.
that. Is totally awesome. Yes.
So we talked a bit about how you manifested just this wonderful husband into your life, but
Yeah.
we would be remiss if we didn't talk at least briefly about your kids. What's magical about being a mom? What's magical about them?
The magical part of it is learning from them. I was actually,
Wow.
yeah, I was, I always tell them, my life really shifted when they came into my life. Like, my
Wow.
son is 15
That's
years old.
goosebumpy.
Yes. I'm going to share something very vulnerable, but, with my oldest, as I mentioned before, he was from a previous relationship. And one of my greatest lessons, one of my biggest breakthroughs, was finding peace with his father, because my son felt torn between us. And when I found peace with his dad and showed, support and love, and showed up the way I was supposed to, it really shifted everything for him and me.
Wow.
My son, is the one who held the mirror up and showing me how I was behaving. And it broke my heart. And I felt like I almost lost my son, because he at one point wanted to go live with his dad. And that's when I had to go in deep and reflect on how I was showing up. And I was showing up as someone who was very bitter and upset. And I did the work and I cleared it. And my son and I are so close right now. As a matter of fact, he plays guitar, and he just sent me a video that I posted earlier today where he dedicated a song to me. It's a Pearl Jam. And he actually sang. And that's the first time ever that I heard him sing. And, my biggest goal as when I had him, and I think I've mentioned it before, was I wanted to be his hero. And when the first years of his life, I was doing the complete opposite. And now at 15, I am his hero, and he's mine. And, there's that level of respect and love. And, with my little ones, because of my relationship with my oldest, I've learned to be more understanding. And for me, it's, they teach me every day how to be a better human. And yeah, that's where
Your
I
kids teach you every day about how to be a better human.
Yes, with their compassion and their love and their understanding. They don't have these limitations. They're expansive, and the things that come out of their mouth, and hey, you got this, no worries. But I'm always told they're amazing, and the truth is, they are. And I feel like I was blessed, to have children like them. And actually, they're the reason why, they're my big why. This is why the healing began because I didn't want to continue that type of pattern, parenting pattern that I had. It was more about being, like I said, giving them the opportunity to be the best version of themselves and be there to support and nurture that instead of the opposite. And
That takes so much courage look at the pattern and say, it's not working, and to choose a whole new pattern. That takes so much courage, my friend.
thank you. It did, but again, like I saw the patterns showing up when my son was a year old. After losing my job, I was really frustrated. And of course, I
Yeah,
was
naturally.
worried. Yeah, I was worried. I was upset. And I noticed that I was, I wasn't present in the moment. And I remember growing up, all I wanted was my parents to be present. I wanted my family, my parents to give me that time. And I was
Mm.
doing the complete opposite with my son. And that's when I was like, this stops here. And this is where the healing begins, because I need to show up, you know, as a better mom for him. And every year it's gotten better. And this kid just blows me away, all my kids. And, it's, again, I tell people it's, my healing and everything that, it started out with healing and clearing for them, but it's gone beyond that. Now I want to help others. I want to help others find their way, and
Mm.
help others. I want to hold that mirror up for others so they can thrive and move forward. Like, that's another thing too, is that I've been blessed with so many beautiful people in my life, where when I didn't have the belief in myself, I borrowed it from them.
Mm.
As a matter of fact, again, like Eric Swanson is one of those people. And there was a time in my life where, I was kind of going through some stuff, and I wasn't home, but he showed up and he put this in my doorstep, and he said, "Believe in yourself." And, for him to come from wherever he was at, just to say, "Dude, you got this." Those are the
Mm.
type of people that we need in our lives. People like
Oh.
you, people like him, people that are going to encourage you. And, when you surround yourself with community, when you surround yourself with the right type of people, it gives you a chance. It gives you opportunity to grow and really, shift into a different direction. And yeah, that's where I'm at right now, is being a heart full of gratitude for people in my life. And, that's gratitude is a big part of my practice as well, because when you have gratitude, it really opens up the gates of abundance and love and relationships and, everything. So, yeah.
So Fatima, I went from before we got on wondering, like, suddenly I'm like, we don't really know each other. What are we going to talk about for whole hour, to like, oh my gosh, I wish we have 4 hours to really get into everything we could talk about. It's amazing, and we only have well over an hour, but we need to wrap it up.
Yes.
Regrettably, I ask all my guests this. So I talk in my work about the power of doing our imperfect best. What what it means to me as we envision the perfect we want, and when the imperfections come up, we use them, learn from them, forgive ourselves, and keep moving towards our best. What does doing your imperfect best mean to you?
Taking action, even if you think you're not ready,
Mm.
just doing it. And that's, again, I just keep going back to that. We want to wait to take action until everything's aligned and everything's perfect. But that's just holding us back. And the one thing, it's holding us back from being able to be there for the people that are waiting for us, right? So the longer
I-
we wait, the longer they wait.
If you hadn't taken action
Yeah.
and went out and bought those Think and Grow Rich, you would have for personal branding clients who wouldn't have the person they need right now.
Exactly.
Holy man. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And it's because of
Wow.
action.
That's amazing. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
for taking this time, for preparing, for buying a microphone even. Thank you. Thanks so much, Fatima.
Thank you, Jason. It was such a pleasure to share with you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, wow. That was a really good conversation. So I invite you and invite me to both of us to do what Fatima was talking about, and to listen for those intuitions, for those nudges. Oh, that sounds interesting, and instead of saying that sounds interesting and then doing nothing until you forget about it, how about saying that sounds interesting and actually pursuing it a little bit and seeing where it takes you? Sounds fun to me. I'm saying this for me too. Next week, we have one of Fatima and my friends on. It's not- I've only done this a lot, but still, I'm puppet best. And Lee, hope you say Lee. I'll know by next week. And Ellie, and she has a she's had so many things in life that could cause her to go down a path of not celebrating and being kind of miserable. But as you can see, that's not her at all. And she definitely has a life worth celebrating. So please tune in next week for her. And if you're watching this live, thank you. If you're watching this on replay, thank you. And I my guests and I love comments, so please comment. And thanks for being you. Have a great day.